Okay, let me see if you guys can see me. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. See and hear you too. Okay, great. Thank you, Brajesh. And I appreciate your feedbacks and instant feedback. So, friends, today, as we are moving ahead, right, as of now, as I see that there are around 14 participants as of now. And I believe the number would go up to around 20 to 25 basis, which we will have more people to join us soon. So once again, thank you so much for being here. And one more thing that I wanted to share with you all today is that this event today, we are recording it. So let's see how the recording goes on, because many a times people have told us that they want a recording of this. So we are going to record it, and let's see how the outcome comes. So this is again the first time the technology we are trying and exploring it to the best of this ability. Cool. So before we move forward, I would like to know a couple of things from each one of you before we start and take it ahead. How many of you are attending this webinar for the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time? So it will give me an idea, because this will help me to pitch my point accordingly, and people would understand that what exactly is going on here. So please type in those who are attending for the first time. You can write 1. If you have attended 2, you can write 2. If you are 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So if you help me out, this will help me. Wonderful, Suraj. Finding it, you are attending it the 6th time. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I see that so far there are people who have attended most of these programs third or second time, and there are few first time entrants who have attended for the first time. And similarly, I also want to know parallelly that you are from which city, because I may not be able to recollect all of you. Some of you I know, but not all of you. So if you can help me that you are from which location. So Srikanth is showing for the first time. Great. So Suraj is from Delhi. Who else? Okay, Prasad is from Bangalore. Yes. Srinivas is Hyderabad. Thank you, Srinivas. Who else? Okay, we have somebody representing Telangana. Wonderful, Mr. Srikanth. Okay. Okay, yeah, I do share, Vipin, I do share the PDF versions of the PPT to people who attend the seminar. And I generally don't share it with people who don't, value my time, and they don't value their time. So people who value each other's time, I also respect whatever I have done, I share it. So Vikas is attending for the first time. So where are you from, Vikas? Okay. So Brijesh, thank you so much for connecting, and I am sure you are on a safest place that while you are doing two things simultaneously, that means traveling and listening. Okay, Vipin is from Mumbai. Great. So Atul is from Delhi. So wonderful. This is your first time, Atul. Welcome again. And we take it very quickly, and as the group moves on. So first of all, we have done probably this is our, if I recollect, this is probably our 8th or 9th. Even I forgot that how many we have done so far, but it is going on continuously every Tuesday for past 8 or 9 weeks. And the whole endeavor I'm going to share with all of you, and why we are doing this, what made me to think to do this, what is going to benefit for you, what's in it for you, what's in it not for you, and what you can take it ahead from here. So let's move on, and as more people would be joining in, I'll take you through to certain slides which are little standard slides, though I have changed some pictures so that there has to be some newness to the whole system. So first of all, a very quick brief about me. Those who may not know me and those who are knowing me for the first time, my name is Arun Thukral. I work for almost 20 years plus, and I'm still in a learning phase. It's not a jargon, it's a fact, because that I changed my line completely. I was in sales throughout in my career, right from a sales rep to a sales director or a marketing director. And then to now I'm into HR, and I'm also doing training. So this is all absolutely new things to me. Though I was doing all these things subconsciously, but now I'm doing all these things consciously. And the whole objective is that, and also I must share that I had earlier worked in companies like Astra, GSK, MSD, and right now we deal in completely into recruitments where we hire people for various jobs into pharma and healthcare sector. But friends, this forum is not at all for job search. This forum is not at all about that with attending this, I'm going to share some jobs or I'm going to attract you for some jobs. This is purely a developmental initiative from my side. this is my experience, this is my learnings that I have got. So don't take it like a training module. It is just an exchange of information, knowledge, and skills that I have acquired during my journey, and I'm sharing it with all of you to take this ahead. And if in this journey, if something helps you, something adds value to you, wonderful. I mean, that is where the whole objective lies. So that's a bit about me. And okay, let's move ahead. Now, somebody should ask me, those who are attending for the first time, that why Hcn Ahead and what is all this all about Hcn Ahead? See, it's very simple that as we all embark into our jobs, we all embark into our journeys, we want to be very sure of, I think the internet, hope it is not disconnected. Okay, because the power just went off here. The whole objective of Hcn Ahead is a mission to help more than 1,000 professionals who wants to take leadership roles in their career sooner or later. So it does not mean that you become a designated people manager, then only you become a leader. It's all about leadership in whatever you do, whatever you act, and whatever you perform in your day-to-day job, in your day-to-day life, how you take and become a leader in your current life. So that's the whole objective that one has to understand. Apart from the art of leadership, the science of leadership also is equally important. So that's how we look it ahead, this Hcn Ahead program. And this is also means that it's a leadership program which is designed to develop the role of professionals as managers, coaches, counselors, and effective motivators. That how you can add value to people when you go to work, when you are in the field, when you are talking to your seniors, superiors, in other ways, how you perform as a true leader in your work area, both in your personal and professional life. So all these things that add value to the whole model is to make you a great leader by not by designation, but more by your actions. Now, to conduct any programs, you need to define certain values, and there are certain values that has been defined by me for myself and for developing this program ahead. And first and foremost value is, okay, let me check if people are typing here somehow. I hope you are okay. I'm getting some messages, but I want to know that are you able to hear me and see me? Because I'm seeing a message coming from Manmohan. How I will get the voice? What is the meeting number? I think you are already on the right place, Manmohan, and I'm sure you need to check your buttons, because mobile buttons, if they are not mute, you will be able to get connected. So coming back to the whole program, is this that the core values are about, first of all, the passion. If you are passionate about your work, I can I can assure you that you will deliver the best that you have in you. And each one of us have something in us that we are highly passionate about. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about in our subsequent slides when we talk about building our visions. The next point is excellence, because every time when we go out, we need to do that, we need to perform better than yesterday, we need to do our work in such a way that we exceed expectations, so that people are like vouching for you, that how you can do and deliver better as compared to your previous day. And that's something that will keep your benchmarks always up, and that takes you ahead. So excellence is something that whenever I come here and I talk about, I look at it that how I can exceed the expectation from what I did in the last webinar with you. Integrity is another very important factor that we all know, that we all imbibe in our day-to-day life, that is setting up highest ethical standards, followed by leadership. Now, this is something that I wanted to highlight today, because this is the topic that we are going to focus, that is courage to rise above challenges. So as a leader, we always get into a lot of situations, a lot of positions where we need to rise above challenges, and we have to showcase courage as one of the most important factor into our entire work area. And that is what we are going to discuss today in this webinar. The fifth is the inspire others to rise. I think this is one of the core fundamentals that I follow it right from my earlier days, even today. And this is one of the things that I'm doing it. If I can add value to someone, if I can inspire someone that he or she can do better in its work, it gives me personal satisfaction, the highest satisfaction. And that is why it is one of my core values. Now, if these are my core values, I'm sure that you also would have your own core values. Some of you may be doing it consciously, and some of you may be doing subconsciously. But the more you move into the conscious world, you would understand that these values will always become, not my values, but your own values will always become the guiding principle of anything that you do in your life or anything that you do in your career. If you follow these values, these values means the values that you imbibe, that you follow, can take you to the highest level of the work that you are doing. Friends, if you go back and see your organization, whenever you enter into an organization, you get a very clear, poster, whether in the books that you get or in the office that you get, the core values of the organization. So everywhere you will find that people who are successful or people who are doing wonderfully great, they all have something called as core values in their DNA. And these core values are the one that will take you ahead. I'm taking some time on this particular slide that I always talk, because this is something that you need to subconsciously start building it up in your mind, that whatever you are doing, you are following these core values. Now, why we also chose this leadership program? Because as we all know that leadership needs are changing over time. They are changing because there is a need of continuous development that we all need to imbibe, and there is always a need of there is always an increased competition. So every time you feel that it's not the competition that you are selling a product or a service, it's also a competition from your next peer, next individual who is working along with you. He's preparing harder than you today, so that he beats you in the competition. He beats you in the same game that you feel that you are doing extremely good. So which means that you need to be always vigilant about your skill sets. You need to be always vigilant about the things and the actions that you take. And that helps you to move ahead of competition, not only to see your customer successful, but also to see that you as well are equally successful. And as I said, because there is always evolving customer expectation, the changes which are happening around us are extremely fast and extremely disrupting. And we need to understand what are those evolving customer expectation. And most importantly, there are no constants. Now, even as I mentioned earlier in my previous slide, this is some of the four most common things that we talk about why there are future leadership needs required. Now, this one particular point, that no constant, means that we all, everyone, including me, you, everyone, your boss, your anybody on this earth who is here, he or she is working on something that they want to make life which is comfortable. And once you get into the comfort zone, you get into a form which is called constant, because we all want something to happen which will give you comfort. Everything that you're doing today, you are attending this seminar, or you are going early, we are waking up early, because somewhere you want to settle down, you want to feel comfortable. And the moment you feel comfortable, you feel that you are now in a constant phase. But friends, let me tell you, with my experience, there is no constant in life. The moment you reach a comfortable stage, you need to start you need to raise your benchmark, and you have to move ahead, because there is nothing called constant. And people who remain in the constant, I can tell you, you look back, they are wiped off from the market. I'll give you an example. I recently met somebody, very recently as yesterday. Now, this gentleman is, of course, I'll not name any person, I'll not name any company, but I'll just share some experience. So I met this gentleman, and he would be around 48 or 52 years of age, and he has recently resigned from his company. And when I asked him that why you resigned from your organization, and he said that they were transferring me to a particular location somewhere in South, and which I was not comfortable with. So I said that, still, why you left? Because when I asked about his profile, he was working in a given role for a longer period of time. Neither he changed his current location, and neither he wanted to move out, though he moved out nearby locations. So let's say from Delhi to Chandigarh or Delhi to Lucknow. But he never moved out, and he never explored the world in all his good years, because he worked with a very big leading multinational company, and he was in a comfortable zone for a many years. And friends, what happened? All of a sudden, a change came, and a younger guys were selected from outside the organization. The organization structure got changed. The new managers decided that this guy, though he's good, but at this time he is not delivering, so let's transfer him out. And the moment he thought this gentleman thought that I'm in a perfect world. Now my life is settled. Now my life is constant, and that's where exactly he got the shock of his life. he got the message that now, guy, you need to move out. Either you go to that particular location or you quit. And this gentleman decided to quit. And that's the reason he came to me as latest as yesterday. And in my discussion, I really explored, and I was feeling helpless that at this age, how can I help you? Because now, whatever big brand that you're working in a company, it is very difficult for me now to help you out until unless you know somebody in an organization. So this is what is the problem that that can kill you, or can kill that can kill a career if you are if it is a constant life. Okay, great. Now still I'm getting some messages. Sorry, I'm pausing it a bit here. I need one more confirmation from you, because I'm finding that some people are writing that they are not getting an audio. So if you are listening me and you are able to see me, just type yes, and those who are not can type no. So it will give me a fair idea whether I'm on the right track or not. Okay, the quick 2 yes shows me that that yes, some problems is there in the audio. I think from my end I am sitting in the, let me check the audio setting. It's perfectly fine from my end. So okay, great, thank you so much. So this majority of the endorsement is showing that you need to, somebody who is not getting it, you need to check your internet settings somewhere. Great. So let's move ahead. So this is something that I wanted to highlight, that all of us, we work in a way that we want to be constant, but actually there is no constant in life. And that's exactly because of which we need future leadership skills. We need to develop these skills so that we can move ahead. Okay, now again I've changed the look of the slide which I used to share, and this is where the rope that this gentleman is trying to balance. This is something, the new leadership paradigm. The rope is very thin, and you have to walk it out. And I can tell you that the previous generations, maybe my father's generation or the previous generations who ended up their career before 2000, they lived most of their life in a constant form, relatively, because there was no such disruption of technology, there was no such disruption of internet, there was no such disruption with respect to technology or innovation. But we are the generation which is seeing the maximum amount of change which is happening around us. If you look at it from the bombardment of this internet business, the speed of connectivity, with people to people, as we are talking right now, it is changing drastically, and we are the generation which is learning to cope up with this very, very fast. Probably we will see that 20 years down the line, what is going to be the scenario. So the only thing is that what you need to do is you need to be continuously developing yourself, and that's where your leadership test is going to come. Great. And this is what I talk about. Before we start leading others, we need to first of all talk about self-leadership. We need to understand certain basic concepts. Those who are attending for the first time, this is more betterment for them, that self-leadership is the first pillar, first base that you set. What values you exhibit, what behaviors you exhibit can help you to become a true leader. It does not mean that you are leading a team of 50 or 5 that gives you a designated role of a leader. But what is important is what you reflect in your today's scenario is how you are responding and how you are reflecting yourself as leader. And the second stage is leading by example. When you start leading by example after understanding those behaviors, those signs, scientific traits, you start leading others. And finally, when you do this journey, you become an inspirational leadership. You become an inspirational leader. And that's what I always say, that you look at people around you whom you follow, whether it's a political leader, whether he is the managing director of your company, whether he is your boss, whether he is your neighbor, you would find that there are certain traits that that particular person is exhibiting repeatedly every time whenever you are meeting him or you are interacting with him. Now, what happens when it is written that alignment of personal values? So how you align your personal values is something which is very important to have this superb journey of leadership. And personal values we have already discussed in our previous slides. Okay, let's move ahead. So what makes you a leader? Now, if you look at this slide, I always ask this question every time, wherever you are right now. I would like now you to use your chat box and give me a feedback from the previous session that some of you have attended, or whatever comes to your mind, what makes you a leader. There are certain hints written on this slide itself. So let me give you 30 seconds and you can respond back. So what makes you a leader? And in the previous sessions, whenever we have done, we have taken this very continuously, that leadership does not mean that you have a designated role of a people manager. So now I want to know what makes you a leader. What, according to you, that makes you a leader? Okay, hope you are able. Okay, fantastic. Vipin is saying, help people around me to unleash their true potential. Wonderful. Okay, Pranav, no problem. I would recommend that please park your car if you are in that situation. I don't encourage anybody to have anything personal incident or accident anywhere because of this. Okay, Manish is saying a zeal from inside to do the best for me and showing path to others. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So somewhere we will uncode, Manish, these things, and we will see that what exactly all these things means in a scientific form or in a sequential form. So Atul is saying few traits that someone would like to imbibe. Yes. So we need to find out what are those few traits, what exactly is needed foremost, and what exactly will make you a balanced leader. Okay, learning the things. Thank you, Pankaj. So let's move ahead and talk further. What makes you a leader? Okay, just one second. So let's quickly do a recap of what we did last time. I'll not spend too much of time because there are a lot to cover and a lot to talk. But we last time talked about self-awareness. So if you are aware about your own strengths, if you are aware about your own actions, both subconsciously and consciously, you would be in a position to take a lot of strong action. We talked about a case study last time, how a new regional manager who entered into a job, and he became an utter failure within 3 months because he never adjusted to the system. And I also shared my examples, and that's how we took it. But here we are talking purely about self-awareness from the perspective of belief systems, which makes our thoughts, and that brings out emotions. And finally, these are the actions. And action is what we do, what people see, and that exactly is people, want to know and know about you in terms of self-awareness. Now, this is something that I was highlighting. If you look at the belief system, it is always generated from your value system. Now, if you go back and if you remember that slide that I showed about the value system, now that's where your belief system starts. Now, if your belief system is good because your values, you are following it up religiously, your thought process moves in that direction. And when your thought process moves in that direction, now this is pure theory, but this exactly happens in our day-to-day life. Your emotions, because how you react to a particular situation, whether you are a helping person, whether you are a frustrated person, because we all undergo all these situations every day. We may have a bad day, and our actions shows that we will do certain actions which are not liked by many. And it is a good day, and all of a sudden this gentleman become a very good boy or a very good person. All of a sudden he's liked by many people. So we all undergo those emotional challenges or emotional balance that we create. But what is foremost is that whenever you are deviated or whenever you face challenges, you should go back to your value system. And that's what you need to understand every day and practice it. That's what we discussed. Now, okay, sorry. Okay. Okay. So I want to ask you people before I move ahead, can somebody tell me what exactly we discussed in our last meeting? There were some three action points that I wanted you to take, and we would like to discuss that because that is very important. If you have taken some actions on those action areas, so I would not expect people, but anybody who has attended the previous session and we talked about certain actions. So is there anybody who has taken any action or anything that you remember that what actions we talked about that you need to take, and we will discuss it in our next forum? Anybody? So I'll give you another 30 seconds if anybody would like to come forward and talk about those actions. So let's see some response. Okay, so Pranav is saying there is a clear purpose. Okay, perfect. Can you further elaborate what exactly you mean by clear purpose? So so every time when I do this webinar, I put a very clear point that we need to highlight some action points. When we go back, whatever we learn here, we try to implement it in tangible action points, because here we learn both quantity and qualitatively. and somewhere we need to go back and implement it and share it, that how this is helping you, how this all learning sessions that you are coming forward every 1 hour 2 hours that you are spending over here, how it is helping you in your day-to-day life. Okay, clear purpose. So you need to have a clear definition of your purpose, your clear goal, because this is exactly great. Thanks for sharing, Pranav and Rakesh. Uh, because if what we highlighted last time, that if you want to be a true leader, you need to forget your designation, you need to forget what position you are in the company, and you remember only your purpose. Because we talked about dream jobs which never exist. But more than that, we also discussed about, when you go back, and I will show that slide today again by the end of this, there are 3 or 4 action points that you need to do, and we will talk it out in length. And one of those areas is you need to start identifying what are your strengths area, what are your weak areas or improvement areas. Two, you need to find out that where you are spending your weekends with, whom you are spending your weekends with, where you are spending your weekends. And that tells about that what are your interest areas. So we will talk about those action areas, because at the end of the day, before we move ahead, I would like to see each one of you achieving certain results. And basis that results, we will see that whether your journey is moving ahead, or it is just a session which is going on, or it is just a gyan which is going on. So precisely, this is not a gyan. The end objective is that I want you to take some learnings out of this session, apply those things if you are under those situations, stress situation or difficult situations, and implement those learnings, and then come back on this Tuesday and talk about those learnings and share those learnings with others so that people can learn from it. Great. So to take things ahead, as we always do, we go for a poll. And today our focus is all about to create awareness. Sorry, our focus is today all about courage. So today I'm launching one poll for you. Please, it will come to your screen within 2 seconds. It is a little lengthy from the perspective. There are just 2 questions, but the options given are little lengthy, not very lengthy. So please go through those options, think about it, but don't try to think about an ideal answer, because these responses are collective responses. This will not reflect your individual response. That you please be rest assured. These responses are definitely the collective responses, and we will understand that what courage means to you before we move. So let's understand this poll. And every time people who are attending for the first time, we do a poll like this. And the objective of this poll is to understand what is your level of thinking right now. As a group, as a team, we understand, and then we try to uncode those things in our subsequent presentations. So I'll launch this poll, and I'll give you exactly 1 minute to go through it. If you want one more minute, we'll give you 2 minutes. But don't think too much. And that's exactly people tell you when you are giving a psychometry test. Don't think too much, because the moment you start thinking too much, you start giving an ideal answer. And that's why many people, just a gyan again here, that many people, who fail psychometry tests or who do not score high on psychometry tests, because they when they look at the question, the options of the question, they start thinking too much and they look at the ideal answer. And that's where the problem starts. The best way to attend the psychometry test, wherever you are attending or in future, just read the question, read the option, and click on it what you think you do it, not the ideal way. So now I'm sharing this poll to you. I'll give you exactly 2 minutes to read and think about it. And let me know in case if this poll is not clear. So I hope this poll is now visible to you. Take more than 2 minutes in case if you want. I'm okay with that. And let me know if you are not able to see anything. Okay, thanks all who have submitted. It's exactly now going to be 2 minutes, and I can see 15 of 19 have responded. I look forward for four more. I'll give you one more minute. It's exactly 2 minutes past 10 seconds. So I'll give you another 1 minute. So put together 3 minutes for this. Still, I look forward. 78% of you have voted here. Four of you have not voted. So it is irrespective of whether you are new, old, you may face this situation and you can still respond. Okay, 16 of you, 80% of you have responded. Just two people have not responded. So if you can, great. So it's just 3 minutes. So I'm ending the poll here and I'll just share the outcomes. So the outcome is that I'll just do the end of polling and you can also view this in front of me. Okay, great. So if you look at, so I just let me share the results. I hope these results are also visible to you. I'm sharing this that the question was that your boss asked you to complete an assignment by a deadline that you think is unrealistic. So maximum number of people have said that you do not speak up immediately, but start working on the assignment and express your opinion at some point before the deadline. So majority of the group feels. The second rating is immediately tell your boss how you feel. No worries. There is no right or wrong answer. These are all choices that you have given basis your response. The second question is that you disagree with your boss about important factual information presented during a presentation, and you would highest, I think 63% said you would speak to your boss privately after the class or after the presentation, and 38% of the people said that they would speak up immediately. Okay, great. So again, as I said that there is no right or wrong answer here. What is important is that what we are talking about is we are going to address a very important part of our whole discussion, and that is courage. That what courage you carry when you are in a leadership role or when you are attending any given role in an organization or any responsible role that you have. So let's take it ahead and see what exactly we are going to talk. Okay, now there is another one question. So today again, I'm going to make you a bit busy. So when was the last time that you felt uncomfortable as a leader? So use your chat box and respond this question. When was the last time that you felt uncomfortable as a leader? And I'm sure all of us in our lifetime, in our professional work, on a very regular basis, we face this situation that we feel uncomfortable as a leader. So when was the last time? So can you just narrate one point that made you feel little uncomfortable? Okay. Now I suggest that you can think about it. We will come back to you after some time. You can think about it. Let me take you through a small case study. Okay. Now you see this gentleman on the right hand side. Let us first understand. Now I have just created this. So once again, I request. It's not about any individual. It's not about any company. It's not about any role. It's just a case study to understand the whole aspect of courage. Now, it's more than a case study, it is more of a situation that you come across and you may come across on day-to-day basis. Now, this gentleman, Paul, he's working as an institutional business manager. So you can correlate this, whether it is an institutional business manager or an operation manager or a service manager or any such situation that you want to equate it in your job role. And this gentleman is working in Delhi, covering North India, and he's covering majorly the major institution, both government, private, corporate, everything that he's covering. Now, he has been very successful in his role. He has been into this role as a manager earlier. Company looked at his profile. They felt that this gentleman is doing good, and they promoted him as an institutional business manager. And now he's into this role for past 8 9 months. He understood the market. He created some new inroads and was successful in setting up the entire business, which was not happening regularly. So he built up the market in such a way that the things have started now to give fruits. it's a time that the hard work that he has put in is now going to show some fruit. So not only that he was successful earlier, but when he was given an environment which was absolutely new, he started working towards it and he built it up in such a way that the things which were looking very highly impossible have started to look very much possible. Some were on a short term and some were on a long term. And that's what exactly this gentleman called Paul did in his role. But what happened that Paul was facing a problem very often. So since he moved into his journey, he was undergoing one problem very often, and his problem was that his boss was taking credit for the work that he put in his blood, sweat, and tears to create. I repeat that the problem that he was facing was that his boss was taking the credit for the work that he put in his blood, sweat, and tears to create. Now, I want to ask this group that the situation with Paul was that this is the pain scale. So some of you who are from the pharma industry or healthcare industry who would understand this is the pain scale a doctor shows to a patient. So here I'm using the same concept here with all of you. This is the pain scale. So from a zero pain, when he was promoted, he was very happy, excited. And as he moved into his journey, he faced a lot of challenges. He worked out those challenges. But when he came to know that whatever success stories that he used to share, he got to understand that his boss used to take the credit that this is how his boss is doing it. And now his pain threshold has become very severe. It is kind of becoming intolerable to him. Now, before we move forward, I want some reactions. How do you see this? Does this happen with some of you, all of you, or it has never happened with you all? Now we are talking about courage. Lest we forget that we are here to talk about a very typical topic that is called courage. And this is what exactly I have picked up a situation where how many times first of all, let us understand how many times you have felt that this happens to you as well. And what happened in those situations. Let us understand. So we are not here to know any name. We are not here to know any particular case, but what happened? Okay, so Sheetal is saying, yes, it happens sometimes. Yes, it happens. So it happens. It may not happen every time, but it does happen in some situation, particularly when then there are something which is very big, not on routine things, something which is very big, which is happening in a very drastic way, in a very radical way. You would find that somewhere you will find that your boss is trying to take the credit. And let me also add, it is not only the boss, it is sometimes even your colleague. It may be an idea, it may be a superb idea that you shared in a casual discussion that you're planning to do it, and one of your colleagues picks up that idea and he starts propagating that idea in an open forum, and he wants to take the credit. It may not be your boss alone, it may be your colleague, and who is doing it basis which you shared it. Now, I want to know that when you come under this, so how many of you have really come? So I saw that some of the responses have come, and you must have felt that, you must have undergone that, you had a superb idea and you have gone through this phase. So what we are talking about is that you have moved into a situation of extreme pain and you felt that, oh shit, this was my idea. Why this guy does every time? Why this guy comes in between my success path? And this exactly was a situation with this gentleman called Paul. And that is where his courage was tested. And I'm sure this one particular courage is getting tested for all of us in all the scenarios when we come across these situations. So now the question is, Paul is in a very tough spot. What should he do? Now, can somebody say, what should he do? Let's find out some solutions for this gentleman. And let's understand that what is your understanding of this case. If you had faced this situation, what did you do when you were in the similar situation? Now, I'll give you another 2 minutes. Think about it and now type it out that what exactly this gentleman should do, or what did you do that made you successful? I hope this point is clear. This situation is very clear to all. Okay, Pranav is saying he has to do documentation every time. Okay. What else? So we'll discuss all these options for next 5 minutes before we really move into these details further. Okay, I see one more response. This is, I think, Vardhan. He's saying, take the situation to the hierarchy if available. Okay. It's a matter whether you work in a team or in an individual territory. Okay, Manmohan. So let's take it as a situation. So we are not looking at pool territories. We are not looking at individual territory. It's a case that has happened with this one gentleman. So he, because every person, whether you're in a pool territory or in an individual territory, you are delivering some value to the organization. So it may not be a field perspective. It can be an office colleague who is working, who is bringing that idea, and his or her boss or his or her colleague has taken that idea ahead, and you felt somewhere, oh shit, this is something which is going on. So what would you do in this situation? Okay, so I'm getting, so Vipin is saying give credit of leadership to the boss in open forums since boss is insecure. Okay, speak up to him as well, to his hierarchy, to mitigate the chances next time onwards. Okay, thanks Atul. Wonderful. Suraj is saying his boss is not aware about his KRA. Okay, great. So that's fine, and that's where it's as I said. So this case is talking about a boss, but this can also happen to a colleague. So what is more important is that what do you exhibit as a courage? Now, many a time you will find that people who are not very attuned to this, they may confront with their boss. So will you confront with your boss if you face this situation? That's the question that I'm asking. Will you confront with your boss? Okay, Jitendra is saying, I believe, do the work as per company expectation and share the success story with his boss and senior. Okay, so how many of you? Okay, great. I'm getting some good answers and I'm getting some of the real-time answers. But tell me, in your real life, how many times you have really done this way? How many times you have really challenged your boss sitting across the table, or you have went up the hierarchy and you said that, okay, I will do this, and I will let my super boss know, or my team, or the everybody should know that this is not his work, this is my work. And what happens after that? And what happens after that? We don't want to offend our boss, because at the end of the day we all say that our boss is our company. So many and more importantly, when you do this, how many times that you feel that you have done a wrong thing, because now your boss, once he comes to know, he is going to start finding faults in me, or start catching me doing wrong things, because you have made your boss insecure, you have made him feel insecure. So does this happen? And when this happens in this way, so there are good ideal answers. I really appreciate those ideal answers and some real answers that you would have done it. But the fact is that somewhere you need to build courage. And this is what we are going to talk about today. And let's see that what exactly we can look at it from the learning perspective. And it is not just a situation for anyone, I'm saying, in the job, but I'm also saying this can happen in any discussion, any scenario. You were talking to something to a great friend, and tomorrow you find that he took your idea and he started working towards it. So there is nothing wrong in it, but somewhere you felt that whether you could communicate this to that gentleman or not. So let's talk it about what courage is all about and what we are talking. Okay, I'll take the last response, what is there, and let's move on. Okay, now Suraj is saying that I shared my thoughts because my boss, okay, what's always had, so I don't want names, had kept the transparencies among us. Okay, great. So every time you put it on record, and sometimes, fantastic. So thank you once again for your responses. So let's see that what are the signs of a courageous leader. First of all, people feel that people who are highly educated, people who are highly skilled, only they are courageous. So let me put it a fact that it is not the case. So each one of us have the capacity to be a courageous leader, but it is only us who decide that whether we want to be courageous leader, or whether we want to succumb to the situation and we accept it. Because friends, you will agree that every day we come across situations, we come across challenges. Now it is our choice whether to take that challenge or whether to walk around that and leave it like that, because you don't want to offend somebody and you want to be in a comfortable situation or a position. And that's what, I request somebody has audio, please. I think somebody has put in an audio. Please unmute your, excuse me, I think somebody has, okay, thanks. So So I was saying that everybody has the courage to be a courageous leader. Now you need to flex this like a muscle. You have to use it very often. And and what happens is that when you want to be a courageous leader, you need to talk about your beliefs. You need to talk about that what you believe in. And there are certain things like this that can make life easy for you. Courageous leaders are those who stand up and speak. Courageous leaders are those who change directions and they take unpopular decisions, and they are the one who run instead of walk. Now, these are some theoretical points which we are going to now talk in more details. Now, imagine a situation that you are attending a particular meeting or a conference and you wanted to say something that you disagree with the speaker. You wanted to say something that you felt and you believe in, and you did not do that. It was always in your heart and it was always in your mind. You thought of raising your hand and standing up and speaking out, but somewhere you did not do that. Now imagine on that day when you came back home and you were evaluating your day, that this is how my day went, and I had the opportunity and I could have said something. Now, what are those feelings that you will have on that given day or at that given time when you wanted to speak but you did not speak? So I want you to respond on your chat buttons and tell me what happens in those situations. Okay, somebody's saying my video is not coming. That's not a problem. I think the internet will work accordingly, but my audio should be audible. That is also very important. So tell me, have you undergone any situation when you were standing in a group or when you were standing in a place where there were audience and you had the opportunity to speak and you did not speak just because you felt that somewhere this is not the right forum. If I say something, I will offend some people. If I say something, it will not be the right thing. And when you came back home, you felt that, shit, I missed the opportunity. And there is a guilt within you which is making you uncomfortable. Now this is something that we are going to talk about, that this is something that makes you uncomfortable. Now that one particular feeling of that uncomfortable is the first starting point that will help you to think about your belief system, that will help you to change the directions of what people are going in this direction. When people don't, when is the time that you want to stand up and speak? So when that happened, so okay, fine, you guys are writing that yes, it happened. But now look at this situation in the other way around. Now you went to the same meeting and you found that there was a forum which was there was a discussion which was going on, and you stood up and you made your point. You told your point. You said, this is what I believe, this is what is correct, this is what should have happened, this is how I believe. Because when you speak like this, you are taking some risk, because you are going to stand alone, because you are challenging somebody, you are talking somebody, and to be there in that alone position, you need to believe in yourself. So when you do that, so in the first situation we discussed that when you do not do that, and when you come back home, you have a feeling of guilt, you have a feeling of uncomfortable, you have a feeling of pain. But now I'm saying, suppose you went there and you did that. You spoke your mind out, you spoke about what you believe in, and when you came back, what happens? What kind of feeling do you get? Some responses I wanted to know. Okay, great. So Atul is saying that it happened to him 7 years back. Still, he feels that there is some guilt. Now I'm asking the other way around. Now you did that. You spoke your mind out. You felt. Now what happens when you come back? What goes under your mind? Now this time you have done it. So let me see some responses coming from you. Okay, so Vipin is saying, with such courage, one runs the risk of rejection. Perfect. Okay. Niharika is saying you get satisfaction. Try to overcome. Okay. Okay. Accomplishment. Sheetal is saying. Pranav is saying sometimes it comes spontaneously. Wonderful. Now we will answer that why it comes spontaneously. Why it happens that you stand up and speak sometimes and many times you don't speak. We will uncode this particular point. Okay. So most of you are talking about that. When you speak out your mind in those forums, when you speak out with logic, when you speak out with a lot of awareness, data, and the subject knowledge that you speak about, when you come back home, when you sleep that night, you feel very comfortable. You feel that you have delivered it. Now, friends, why that happen? Why this happens that when you are able to speak it? Because if you go back to the slide that is on your left hand side, it talks about your beliefs. So when you are very clear about your beliefs, when you have clearly written your vision statement, when you are very clear about your value system, when you have decided that what is the outcome of this entire vision, what is the outcome of your goal, and you know that what you can influence, what you cannot influence, what you are capable of and what you are not capable of, when you are very clear about all these aspects, you become a very confident person. You become a person who is going to talk things which adds value. And that is where the first step of courageous leadership starts. So whenever now you go back to the point which I said, that you are standing in a meeting, there is a situation around you and you did not speak. Somewhere you have not been very clear with respect to your value system. Somewhere you are not very clear about your vision system. Somewhere you are not very clear about those particular aspects that made you confident. And look at the vice versa situation. When your value system is clear, when your goals are very clear, when your direction is very clear, you are a person who is in control. You are a person who is in the seat, and that's where such people shape the entire system. These are the people who have the courage to speak to that particular boss that yes, we are on a mission, let's sit and talk, this is what. And more than so, in those situations which we took it as our case study, you will find in the case study which we said that your boss is taking credit or your colleague is taking credit, you will not even feel bad. You will not even feel worry about it, because you are on a vision, you are on a very clear mission. This is what you need to believe in. And once you're very clear about your vision and mission, all these things do not matter, because these are all materialistic happiness that you get it for a short time. And then later on, people are going to recognize you only and only basis your value systems and your mission. So you should take rest only when you reach a particular point that you have decided. So I read one of the quote and I share that quote in my meetings whenever I meet people is, uh, don't get very happy or sad about your small victories or small failures. You should always look upon your goal, and that's what is very very important. So how many of you feel that you correlate this situation and you felt that yes, it happened to you, and whenever it had happened to you, somewhere your value system was very clear. Now some of you may say that yes, I am still doing it, but I don't focus too much on my value system. So friends, my response is that you still follow your value system, because in those situations, because you may be doing it subconsciously. Now with this discussion, I am trying to help you to come from subconscious to conscious, that you become very conscious about what you are doing it, and that will make you confident in speaking a lot of sense and value in those scenarios where you feel uncomfortable. And it is important to be feeling uncomfortable. That's why my first question was, if you remember the first slide when I started, when was the last time that you were uncomfortable as a leader? And that's where our starting point happened. That shows your first journey towards leadership, that you are building a courage in you to build certain skills. Okay, let me read. Somebody has written that Manmohan is writing that sometime you speak, but later on you recognize that it is too early to give the right feedback, especially when you are new. Yes, Manmohan, very right. So as we discussed in our previous slides, and not here today, but in our previous sessions, we all said that the first 2 or 3 months are just the imbibing months. You need to understand that who is delivering what and what they are delivering. And but somewhere you need to build your principles very clearly. You need to share your principles very clearly, and basis which you move ahead. So are you all with me? Did you find it interesting, and did you find it useful in your day-to-day practice or in your day-to-day situations that you came across? Let me hear it out, some response, and I'll sip some sip of water. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your responses. And I'm sure that somewhere you are going to use it, because my ultimate goal is when you go back, you need to look at things from that perspective when you apply back in your day-to-day job. Okay, wonderful. Now, we are going to, since we are talking about courage, we are also going to touch about certain areas that helps us when courage is needed. Now, let us look at some more situations and understand that when courage is needed. Now, whenever you are going to take a very tough decision, and we are going to talk about some decision making today, we are going to further uncode this courage. So what are those situations when you need courage, when there are some tough decisions? Now, this is all theory, but we all know what are those practicals. When there is ambiguity, when you are not clear that, okay, what needs to be done, what should I say, what should I not say, you need courage. When you have to give, when you have to manage performance, when, and particularly when you have to manage a high performer or even a low performer. Generally, I say that managing a low performer is always easy, but managing a high performer is always very, very tough. And that's where you need courage to tell that high performer that where you are not doing good and the areas where that gentleman or the lady has to work hard. Or you need courage when you have very less information or little information. This is also an area where people really need to take their gut feeling. They need to talk about their experience, and all these situations require courage. Now, what are those courageous situations? Now, when we talk about tough decisions, now what are those tough decisions? Now, look at this slide. When you have to take a decision between right and wrong, and you know that what is right and what is wrong, do you think it is easy? Easy to take a decision? Do you require courage in this? So I want you now. Now I want your response in this. So when you are very clear, okay, this is right and this is wrong, and all of us have one thing in us that we all take stand for something in our life, and basis that stand, we understand that okay, this is right and this is wrong. So do you think there is a courage that is required? Okay, some of them are saying yes, some of them are saying no. So wait for some more slides that are going to come, and I will further ask this question, because we talked about that when, at what time you need to use courage. What are those courageous situations that require your input? Okay, now suppose you face a situation, on one side it is right and on the other side it is more right. So now you have to choose between right and more right. Do you require courage or you don't require courage? So many times it is very difficult. On one hand, as a situation, you have a very close colleague who is having a very good emotional bonding with you, and on the other hand, there is another guy who you are in touch for quite some time, and you have to choose one person for that particular job. So it's between right and more right. So do you require courage to choose? Okay, so yes, courage is required. Okay, wonderful. So you have to choose between, like, between right and more right. And also you need courage when you have to choose between wrong and more wrong. So wrong is already wrong, but when you see there is more wrong, but you need to judge what is more wrong. So again, you require a lot of courage in this. But friends, the most courageous situations I still feel, because you can still choose from right from more right and wrong from more wrong. But the toughest situation is when you find that you have got a situation when two things are equally right, or when two things are equally wrong. That's where you need courage. How many of you agree that you need maximum courage in taking a decision when you see two options equally right? I'm sure all of you would have faced some situations in your life, or maybe likely to face some situations, that when you have to choose between two equally right people or two equally right things. So what happens? What do we do? What kind of courage and what kind of tough decision? Now these are very tough decisions. Now can somebody tell me that what would you do in this tough situations, or in or in these tough situations? When you have to take a very tough decision between two equally right, what will you do, whom you will choose, and why? Okay, so Vipin is saying that maybe courage is required to choose between two equally right decision, but not between two equally wrong. So no, so we are saying that you have to choose, there are only two sets here. One is you have to choose between equally right and equally right, or you have to choose between equally wrong and equally wrong. So you have to choose one. So what will you choose and why you will choose? That's the question. So both are right. So both gentlemen, suppose you are into a selection process and you find that both are equally good. And so let's build up a case. Let's build up a case that you are in a situation that you have got two people that you are going to select, and all of you, all your managers have taken a decision that yes, both these guys are right. Now you are the boss, and you have to find out a particular one gentleman out of it. So whom you will choose? Or there is a situation that you know that it is going to get worse, and you have a choice that okay, whether you have to sacrifice one person or you have to sacrifice the second person, and but you need to find out that both are wrong. So whom you will choose? You have to choose only one, because that's what the choice is. Okay, so let me hear it out. I would reject both equally wrong ones and look for more options to take decisions. Search for a additional criteria. So I know this is moving towards the decision-making process, which is itself as a book entire subject. But where we are talking about the courage to choose when there are two things equally right or equally balanced. So let's see that as a human tendency, what we do. Let's see that as a human tendency, what we do. So on the left hand side, we accept the favorable and we reject the unfavorable. Do you agree that we accept the favorable and we reject the unfavorable? That means what is favorable to me, I choose that. What is giving comfort to me, what is more pleasurable to me, I will accept that, but I will reject which is unfavorable to me, which is likely to give pain to me. And that's exactly happens in our day-to-day life. So what gives me, so I catch a bus which come, or I catch a taxi, or I get something which is very near to me. Why should I take a pain and go, though I know that it is still going to benefit with respect to my health? So we all want comfort in our zone. As I said right from the beginning, we all are looking for things which will give us more comfort so that we live in a constant world. That's a human nature. And what exactly happens when you accept the favorable, you want to be comfortable. And when you reject the unfavorable, you are basically looking at an uncomfortable situation. So the point is that what gives you happiness, you accept it. Out of those two rights, one which gives you happiness, you accept that, and you reject that what gives you unhappiness. And that's the human nature what we do. But that's not the way that you show your courage, or that's not the way that you make a tough decision. That's absolutely the wrong way to do it. I'm challenging this fact that by nature we would like to feel happy about where those situations which are comfortable to us, and we would like to reject those which are uncomfortable to us, because that's a human nature. But that's a wrong way to do it. So can somebody tell me, can somebody attempt that what should be the right way when you have to choose between two rights? What do we do? We all face this situation. We all may come across this situation, and that's where my courage comes as a test. I have to choose the right. So what exactly, what should we do? What is the right method? Can somebody tell me? Wonderful, Vipin. Good. Keep emotions out and value system in. Very good. Look for the past success, Rajiv is saying. Wonderful. Who else? So let's see another 2, 3 comments and then we move fast. I don't know what is the time. Okay, it's already 9:05. So attitude of that person. Okay, wonderful. Belief. Yes, that's what Prasad we said, that we talked about belief. So as I said that in the beginning, when you are very clear about your belief, when you are very clear about your mission, when you are very clear about your vision, this exactly I always highlight that we need to be reminded more than we need to be instructed. And that one particular thing is, what is your vision? When you take decision basis your vision, basis your goals that you have created, basis your mission, you choose the right option out of that. Who will fit into the things that I'm choosing out of the two rights, which will fit into my values or my journey of my vision? That is how you make a tough decision and you become brave in your taking those decisions, because these are very tough calls you have to take. So anyone out of the two, that if I have to select somebody, I will go for that gentleman who can add value to my vision or my mission statement. I will not be able to choose, though he may be looking good in his performance, in his everything, but I will choose somebody who is going to come on vision. And this is where, as somebody said, you cannot be just emotional. Many a times we become emotional in taking those calls because you feel that, okay, he's known to me, he has been recommended, and I find he's equally good. So let me take that call. So that is purely emotional. You need to bring emotions, but you don't need to bring you don't need to become emotional in this, because that's where your everything, because that's where we started. If you remember, if you are very clear about your vision, if you are and out of your vision, if you have very clearly defined your goals, you need to choose the right out of the equal rights, and that's what exactly will help you to take that tough decision very easily. But if you take that decision just by virtue of your comfort, by virtue of your happiness, I can tell you, friends, you will definitely later on regret that you made a wrong decision. Because if you are looking for a momentary happiness, if you are looking for a momentary pleasure, then I can tell you, you are creating a long-term problem for yourself, because you will find that somewhere you are failing in your vision. And that's what you need to learn when you have to make those tough decisions. How did you find this concept? Does it going to help you in becoming more courageous, becoming more decisive in your actions? How do you feel this concept? Do you agree with this? Okay, great. So that's what I always, thank you so much. I'm getting your responses. Wonderful. Thank you. But let's go back. And I think if I go back and I remember the first presentation that I started, the second presentation, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and even till date, that whatever I'm talking to you, I very categorically asked each one of you to write your vision statement. And I can tell you, many of you would be still, though you have written it, but somewhere you would still need a lot of, clarity in. The more you are clearer in your vision statement, the more you are clearer your goals you have made, short-term goals and long-term goals, the more and more and more you become clearer and clearer, all these situations will become easier for you. You will be able to stand up in the crowd when people are silent. You will be able to understand when your people are silent, what they are expecting out of you. When you are very clear about your value system, when you are very clear about your belief system, you would be able to speak up. As I give you my own example, today I have clearly mentioned my mission very clearly, that I would like to train or develop 1,000 leaders and help them to become successful leaders in their journey. So I'm very clear about my mission and my values. So I don't have to think too much about what somebody is thinking, what somebody is talking about, what somebody is not talking about. I am very clear that till the time I don't reach 1,000, I will continue to do this. And definitely there is a timeline. And for that, I need to work more harder and the time. And off late, I can tell you that I am losing time. Earlier, some time back, I used to have time in the evening and in the morning. But these days, last 4 or 5 weeks, I feel that, I'm so much focused on my vision that I feel that my time is just running away. I don't have time now. I look at things in a totally different perspective. And that's what I'm trying to say, that it doesn't take any courage, special courage in me to stand up and talk, because I'm very clear about my vision. I'm very clear about my values. And wherever I go and stand, it becomes very easier for me to talk about it, because though all these things have made me very confident about me doing things, have made me very clear about what I want to achieve. And that's what I'm able to share it with you all. And that's the whole purpose that I'm sharing, that when you go back, when you talk to your people, when you go back, try and implement these things, and I'm sure they will all add value to you. Great. So that's what I said, that courage and comfort will never be friends. If you are comfortable, chances are you are not learning, growing, or forging a new path. That means you are not on the path of leadership. If you are in a comfortable situation, if you are in a constant, you are not learning anything. You need to challenge your constant immediately. You need to find out those problems that you are facing right now. You need to identify those and start doing it more often. I'm sure all of us have seen Dar Ke Aage Jeet Hai. And this is precisely I'm trying to highlight, that courage and comfort can never be friends. So the more you are comfortable, and our tendency of human tendencies, we want to be comfortable. So the more you challenge your comfort and you start moving into discomfort, you are basically into the right direction of becoming a very confident leader. Okay, great. Now, that's what another quote that comes, and I read somewhere and I wrote it. Our common reactions to tough times is what makes us human, but our uncommon choices are what makes us courageous. Now, this is something which I have been talking, and this is somewhere your pain scale from your red to green can happen if you start understanding this basic point. If you start challenging the status quo, if you are going to challenge that why certain things are happening this way and why they are not happening this particular way, when you start challenging the normal, when you start challenging your constant, you will get a very clear answer within you, and that will make you courageous. Then you don't fear about whether you are talking to your managing director or you are talking about your situation where people will laugh at you. They will still laugh at you, but in later on they will look upon you and they say, yes, this guy made a difference and he was very clear. And that can only happen when you have a very clear vision, goals, and your value system. Okay, now again, I come back to, I'm almost on the closing verge of this discussion. Write your vision statement. This is the action number one. And if you do it, share it with everyone, because the more you share it, the more you owe it. The more you owe it, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, your actions will be taking you towards that vision. Number two, find out your true interest and aspiration. Somewhere you need to very clearly identify which are your true interest and aspiration. And as I said in my previous discussion, you need to really find out how you are spending your weekends. When you are doing nothing, what exactly you are doing. And that's where you will find that what are your true interests and aspirations. Pick one SEW. I told last time also, I don't know how many of you really started doing it. One work, one seriously exceptional work. And this serious exceptional work will come only about the fact that what you are passionate about. If you remember the slide number one, which I shared about, the value number one was passion. So if you know what you're highly passionate about, your true interests, aspirations, and you will be able to find out what is that serious exceptional work that you are able to do in your job. And that one particular thing will start making you a different person from the crowd, that whatever you are doing. Identify your strengths and improvement areas. From this only you will start getting your improvement areas. So these are 4 actions which I want you to do it on your coming week, and coming week after week, day after day. And when we will meet again next time, I'm going to share and know. And I see that our group is very silent. We all wait for the last moment. And this is where I want that you need to keep sharing your vision statement. And basis your vision statement, what are your goals? And basis your goals, you need to start sharing your success stories in this seminar or in your group. And that's the whole purpose of the group. The group purpose is not, of course, for jobs. This group is not for sharing any messages. This group purpose is to share your success story, whatever learnings that you are doing it over here. And my last slide is always caption this. So what do you think this slide is talking about? Some comments. Okay, Suraj is saying, want to influence people as a product manager, want to become in man management. Okay, wonderful. I'm trying to read out some of you who are losing time but gaining people. Very true, sir. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I want to now ask you, how would you caption this image in front of you? What this image tells you, what comes to your mind? Let's caption this image. Okay, wonderful. Forget your fears. Come out of your comfort zone. Wonderful. Fly high. Great. Set yourself, explore new horizon. And that's what we all do. That's what human nature is all about. Human nature is not to, sit idle and do nothing. Great leaders don't live in silos. They come out openly and they talk. And that's what exactly. Even sun is behind you. Wonderfully said, Manmohan. Practice your fears. Okay, forget your fears. So as I also said that you need to double the rate of your failure if you want to be successful. But if you don't take action and you don't take risk and you expect things to become wonderful, that doesn't happen. Wonderful, limitless, very nice. So thank you so very much. And I think I have, it's almost 9:15. And I love to connect with you again next week. And if you find this program useful, if you find that this is adding value to you, please share your feedbacks on on the WhatsApp, because as I see today there were around 25 to 27 people are there. Still there are 24 people, but we have more than 100 people. If you are still convinced that this is good, please share this with the. Please bring more people on this forum. We have the link given to all of you. We can accommodate easily 250 people in this group. Right now we are around, I think, 125. So I'm not looking at numbers. I'm looking at people who are like-minded, who would like to come forward and see it. And we meet next Tuesday, that is on 26th of September. We will come out and share some great learnings. And mind you, this was a recorded session, and I will see that how this recording has happened. And if it is all well, I'll definitely share with all of you. Thank you so very much. Have a great week ahead. And I hope you will all take some learnings out of this session and implement it in your day-to-day practice. Thank you very much for being here, and share your feedbacks on the group if you like this session.